In this video, we'll break down the most important numbers in Revelation and what they reveal about God's future plans for His creation. The book of Revelation is full of strange numbers. I'm calling them strange because of what they are numbering, and how they are the same numbers again and again, like 7, 12, 144,000, or 1,260. In order to understand what these numbers mean, we need to understand that the book of Revelation falls into the genre of apocalyptic literature. This is really important. You don't read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe with the same expectations as you read encyclopedia articles on lions, witches, and wardrobes. Depending on how you count them, the Bible has 6 or 7 main genres. All of them are very different, and the differences need to be understood for us to understand what is being said in them. So what is apocalyptic literature? Very briefly, apocalyptic literature is characterized by visions, symbolism, and a focus on the end times. And it often depicts a cosmic battle between good and evil, and the ultimate triumph of God. It is also filled with echoes of the Old Testament, and the numbers are not about quantity. They are shorthand for big theological ideas. In this video, we'll break down the most important numbers in Revelation and what they reveal about God's future plans for His creation. The number 7 is the most repeated number in Revelation. We find 7 churches, 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls, and these are just some of the sevens of things. The number 7 is the number of completion and perfection, especially in God's work. And this is not just a Revelation thing. Think about the 7 days of creation, 6 days of work and 1 day of rest. So in Revelation, when we see 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls, we are seeing God's complete plan of redemption and judgment. The number 4 is often tied to creation, the physical world. We find the 4 winds and references to the 4 corners of the earth. When you see 4 of anything in Revelation, we are talking about everything on the earth. For instance, the 4 living creatures represent all the creatures of the earth. So this number signals universality, what affects the whole earth, not just one nation or one people. So in a sense it means completion too, but it's completion in things under the sun. The number 12 designates God's people. God's Old Testament people came from and were named after the 12 sons of Jacob. There were 12 tribes of Israel. God's New Testament people came from 12 apostles. Together they make 24. This is how many elders there are surrounding the throne in Revelation. So the number 24 is the unified people of God, Old and New Testament. 10 is another number of completion, especially in a human or ordered sense. A human being has 10 fingers. 10 is all of them. So it's the number of human completeness. The 10 Commandments encapsulates the whole law that human beings must obey. And the 10 days of testing in Revelation 2, humans are tested for 10 days. Not a literal 10 days, but for a time until that testing is completed. The number 1,000 symbolizes vastness, or a huge quantity. Examples include Psalm 90 verse 4, which uses 1,000 years to describe God's eternal nature. And in Deuteronomy 7 verse 9, we find God's covenant and mercy extending over 1,000 generations. And the number 1,000 is part of the equation to get 144,000. Revelation tells us that the number of the redeemed are 144,000. This number is not literal, it's symbolic. To get 144,000, you need to use the number 12, which is the number of God's people. We need the number 10, which is all about completeness regarding human beings. And if we use enough 10s, we will have 1,000, which means a huge number. In 144,000, all these numbers come together into one number. 144,000 is 12 times 12 times 10 times 10 times 10. The 12s are, again, God's people, but they aren't added this time. Multiplying a number by itself is a Hebrew way of maximizing that number. Another way of maximizing a number is to multiply it times 10. Jesus does both of these operations when he tells Peter that he needs to forgive his brother 70 times 7 times. With the number 144,000, John does more than multiply by just 10. It's 10 times 10 times 10. 3 times something in Hebrew literature means very, 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 as in holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. So 144,000 is the symbolic number that represents the totality and the vastness of the redeemed. 3.5 years is the same thing as 1,260 days, which is the same thing as 42 months. These are all the same amount of time, and all these numbers are symbolic of the same thing, a big time of trouble or testing. But the really important thing about this number is that time is limited, it's fixed. It's 42 months, it's not 43. It comes to an end eventually. In the book of Numbers, the journey of Israel from Egypt to the Promised Land is described as having 42 stages, or stations. These stations are listed in Numbers 33. It was a time of trial for God's people, but it had a definite ending. So whenever you come across 42 in the Bible, it means a period of temporary trials and tribulation. 1,260 days is how many days there are in 42 months. This is the number used a couple of times in Revelation. 3.5 years is interesting. It's 42 months, but it's also half of 7, the number of divine perfection. So it's a sign of incompleteness. This emphasizes that it's a not forever kind of thing. Another way of saying 3.5 years is a time, times, and half a time. A time is a year, times is 2 years, and a half a time is a half a year, 3.5 years. You find this language in Daniel 7 and Revelation 12. Okay, what about the number 666, the number of the beast? 7 is the number of completeness, and the number 6 is 1 less than 7. So 6 is not quite 7. It's always falling short. And remember how we said that in the Bible, when you say a thing 3 times, you are ramping up the superlatives? That means that the number 666 is triple in perfection. It's the number of the beast in Revelation. This is a symbolic way to say that the beast is fully, utterly not divine, ultimately incomplete, totally less than God. Humanity is also not divine or complete. So the regular number 6 is also the number of man. 666, then, is the number of humanity raised to the power of evil. The numbers in the book of Revelation are meant to be read symbolically. These numbers help us to focus on the message, not the math. So what is the message in the numbers? Here is what the numbers reveal when we read them as symbols and not statistics. God is in control, and evil has its limits. Therefore, God's people are secure. And that what seems chaotic is actually the unfolding of history according to God's perfect design. And in the end, the numbers tell us that Jesus wins. We don't need to decode Revelation like it was some kind of a secret message. We just need to allow its symbols to lift our eyes to what is eternal. Thank you, and we will see you next time.